Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to the Business Forum. So today in the forum with me,
Hindi School, business teacher.
Ali Hassan, Business School, Brain School, Business Studies leading teacher.
and I'm Seena Latif from Tajuddin School. So today we will be discussing about the questions that the students have asked during today's morning session. With the lesson I took on environmental and ethical issues, students were given opportunities to ask questions. So today we are going to provide the answers for those questions. So students, if you have any questions regarding the topics, you can ask those questions during the lesson. Okay. So we are going to continue with today's questions. So the first questions that we have received is, what is important to conduct, why is it important to conduct cost-benefit analysis? So Bisha, what do you think?
First of all, let us look at about what is cost-benefit analysis. Basically, in a cost-benefit analysis, an organization or government will look at the benefits to the society. If we look at about government, they will look at about the social benefits as well as social costs. That means what are the benefits that the society will get by that particular business, and also what are the costs that the society may have to pay because of that particular business. And also the organization, they will look at about what are the benefits they will get by establishing a business in that particular society, as well as the cost that they may have to pay for. And the importance of doing this is to decide whether, if it is government want to see whether the government or the whole country or the community will benefit by this particular business in comparison with the cost. And the organization will look at whether the company will, whether it is feasible for them to run the business in this particular organization, in this particular community. So in these two things, they will compare the benefit, both sides, they will compare the benefits and the cost they may have to pay for.
Even for the government also it is very important, right?
It's very important because for each and every government, they want to see what are the benefits that particular business will provide to the society. Because if it is a business, there should be some of the benefits to the society, like people who are living. That, for example, whether that particular business will provide enough benefit, job employment or job opportunities to the people who are living in there. Or basically whether it will help the infrastructure of the business, whether the business will be able to provide some other CSR benefits to the society. And at the same time, what are the limitations or what are the costs that they may have? Like, for example, whether it will create a lot of air pollution, noise pollution, or the resources of the particular area might be exploited or not. And these things should be considered by the government. So, and at the same time, like for example, the tax revenue that this particular organization may provide to the government is also very important for particular government.
Then of course the government spending will be reducing, right?
Obviously.
Okay. That's a very good discussion about the question. I hope all the students understood the answer for that particular question. So we will move on to the next question. What will happen when the business employee is hired for the work of the businesses?
So, first of all, we need to know whether the government legislation allows a child to be employed, and which stages or which age group is allowed to be employed to a business. So if the government allows this child employment, maybe let's say a child between 13 to 15 years might be allowed to work in a particular organization. In that case, the company might get some benefits. Like, for example, they can hire these child employees as lower wage cost. So the company could reduce their cost. But in most of the cases, these things are found as unethical, as child labor is mostly unethical to most of the in most regions. So in business, what do you say? The business, the brand image of the business might be reduced because the way the customers think about the company might be negative. So in that case, they will be reducing the customer levels. So in the long run, it might be a disadvantageous thing for the company.
Yeah.
Because the business, basically the customers nowadays, especially the customers consider about these ethical issues a lot, and most probably they may choose the competitors over that particular business. So in that case, you may lose a lot of customers and ultimately a lot of sales. So business may have to face a lot of difficulties in that case.
So it is not vital for the businesses to employ child labor, right?
Even if it is legal,
Yeah,
it is
even
not
if it is legal, we do not, or the businesses do not appreciate it, right? Because in the long run, they have to face lots of limitations, right? That's why. Okay, and again, we have one more question. Why are ethics important in business decision making?
Okay, let us, to answer this one, I think first of all we need to look at about short run and long run. Okay, if you look at about short run, basically for the business it might be very costly because the methods they may have to use might be very expensive. Like as Ausen said, that they might have to pay a very high wage for their employees, and they cannot, for example, exploit their employees. And also they have to provide a good working environment to their employees, and the production methods should be very much ethical, and the resources they get, the supplies also should be from ethical suppliers and all those things. Because of these things, it might be very costly in the short run. But if you look at it about long run, it provides a lot of benefits to the business, and it's more sustainable if they focus on this one. Because like for example, it helps to create the brand image for the business. If the business is able to create a good brand image, that means they will be able to add value to the particular product or service. That means they will be able to charge a high price. That means basically it's a very important thing for the business to decide the price of the goods. They can use skimming, like for example. Still the customers would be willing to pay for it. And ultimately the business will be making a lot of, ultimately the business will be able to make huge profit along with good sales.
Yeah. Actually, it is important, right? Like pricing methods when they consider for pricing also for the short run, the businesses might get benefit, but this doesn't mean that they have to continue these methods, right?
Yeah.
So all the businesses, they have to be ethical and they have to implement ethical policies in the business.
Especially now, because customers are
Aware
becoming
of these
more
things.
aware about these particular things day by day, and countries and governments are also focusing more on these things, and they are helping ethical businesses in different ways, like for example tax reduction and also paying higher price for their goods and services and all those things. So because of that, the business, it's very important for a business to look at about ethical issues.
Yeah, actually the students also might think this is because in the past paper question also we have seen some questions like this, right? For the company X, is it vital to implement these? They might be, in the case study they might give some points, right?
Yeah.
Is it vital for the businesses? So some kind of discussion questions students may get. So I think all the students now, they can use these explanations while they write their answers,
If
right?
the question is in that way, they have to discuss about both sides, whether the benefits to the company as well as the cost that they may have to pay. And later on, they should make an evaluation or analysis.
Okay. For the next question, we have, can you explain the externalities?
Externalities means basically the effects of business activities on unrelated parties. That means basically what are the effects which may cause to a third party because of that particular business. It might be the whole community. It might not be just one particular person. But as a whole community, what are the effects that they may provide to the business? It might be benefits. It might be sometimes the cost, because here we are saying the effects. So when it says effects, so basically we have to consider both the goods and the bads.
Okay, next question. How would MNCs act on ethical issues as human ethics and culture differentiates from region to region? Should they follow the home country's ethics or host country's ethics, and why?
Okay, so first of all, I think we need to know what is the home country and what is the host country. So multinational companies, the country which they are established in, that is known as the home country. So their original establishment is the home country. Then the host country is the country that they are moving into. So logically also we need to know this, that the customers of the MNC would be the host country. So they have to be adapted to the culture and the region of the host country. So due to that, they have to be more ethical, or they have to look at the ethical decisions of the host country itself.
Normally, there would be consumers would be in host country. That's why, right? So businesses have to focus on the consumers, right? So it is very important for the businesses to consider the consumers when they make the decisions, right?
For example, their host country might be a Muslim country, while the home country, the majority might not be Muslims. So the culture between both countries will be very much different. So when you operate in a host country, you have to look at or you have to respect the Islamic Sharia and the rules and regulations which is made. For example, even if it is the standard of the goods, or let's say for example food items in a Muslim country, selling some of the goods might be prohibited, while their home country may allow to do that. So in that case, you should consider the host country's culture. You can't sell those. And also, like for example, there might be specific standards for advertisements. Obviously, the company will spend a lot, but then again, you have to consider their culture. Particular type of advertisements might not be allowed to show in the host country. So even though if you are showing those advertisements in your home country, you may not be able to show it in the host country, or at least you may have to adjust it to the culture and their beliefs and the way of their living.
Okay, from here we will take a short break and we will continue after some time. Okay, welcome back. Again we have some interesting question. Why some government may use to control the impact of business activity?
If you look at about the answer of this particular question, there might be so many reasons. Okay, because government will not be only thinking about for the businesses or the tax revenue they get, but more than that, or along with that, there are so many other factors that they have to think about. Like for example, whether the company is exploiting the resources of the organization, or how much resources are available in that particular business. If the business is established there, whether they will exploit or take advantage of it. And also the government may try to protect local businesses, like especially infant businesses. It's a duty of the government to help those businesses to raise and develop, because in a long term, the whole country will benefit by it. Like for example, a lot of job opportunities, improving the living standards, infrastructure, all those things will be provided. And government spending also will reduce to a lot. So that's why they have to consider about protecting local businesses, especially the infant ones, and at the same time to protect the customers also. Like for example, a business may enter to a particular industry. Okay? When they enter to that particular business, industry, the business might be really huge, and they can take advantage of customers or try to exploit customers. They might be the price takers. If they have that particular power, or if they have monopoly power, they may misuse it. So in those cases, it's a government duty to control those things. Okay? They should intervene in those areas. That's why, because of these reasons, government may try to reduce those impacts.
Then only government can concentrate on developmental projects, right?
Exactly.
Like social projects like education, health benefits. Likewise, these sectors can be improved when when the government concentrate on these areas.
Exactly,
right?
and along with that, otherwise government may have to pay a huge price for those things in the long run.
Yeah, unemployment benefits government might have to provide, right? In some countries they are providing, right? There are some of the consumers who are actively seeking for the job, but they are unable to get the job. So the government have to concentrate on these areas, right?
Yeah.
So that is also one point we have to consider,
The
right?
company who is coming there might prefer to hire employees or bring the employees from their own country. In that case, the local country may not get that particular opportunity, the people who are living there. And like for example, if the company is really huge and if they try to take advantage of the resources, scarce resources available in the country, then all the resources might be gone within few months or maybe years. Then the country's import also might increase because of those things. So that's why I'm saying that government, the price they may have to pay in a long run might be really high.
Yeah, okay. So we'll carry on with the next question. If an unethical business with lower running cost and an ethical business with higher running cost compete, which one will gain more profit in short term and long term?
Obviously, in the short run, the unethical business might get benefited because they won't think of some legal restrictions and all those things. So there are ways that they can reduce the cost. So for example, hiring the child laborers. So it might be unethical, but in the short run, they could reduce the cost of that. But in the case of long run, when you think about the quality of the output that is produced, it will be low. So in the long run, they might face huge loss of customers, loss of brand image in these things. So, but in the long run, the ethical businesses will be more benefited because mostly they won't get any legal fines, and these things will be reduced.
Yeah, actually there are some of the businesses, right, especially like in private sector, they are thinking that only they have to focus on profit, right, because their main aim is to maximize the profit. So these businesses, they will think we will only focus on to the profit and we will not think about like ethical issues or environmental issues, right. So these businesses, when they carry on such activities like child labor, right, children will be ready to work with lower wage, right?
Especially
so
in the areas which have lower living standards and lower income rate and all those things.
actually, why these
The
child labor
underdeveloped
is there?
areas.
Because they do not have any family support or financial support. That is the main reason actually why they go to these businesses to work, right? So these businesses, they may get advantage, but it will not continue, right? Because some of the consumers, or most of the consumers, our society is aware of these things, right?
Especially
because of lots of awareness programs are being carried out, right? Through like ethical businesses are there, ethical suppliers, ethical investors are there. These people conduct so many awareness programs as well. So our society, our consumers are aware of these things. So they will not purchase the products from these
Unethical.
businesses, right, unethical businesses. So of course, in the long run, they might not get demand, right? That is huge disadvantage for the business, right? And they will get advantage, right, when they are following these ethical ways, right? When they are being ethical, they will get advantage because these customers, they are ready to pay the premium prices, right, for some of the goods. There are some of the consumers like that. So the businesses in the long run will get advantage, right?
And the other thing is like it's not only about like the resources, ethical resources, purchasing from ethical suppliers or from not using child labor, but it also includes using ethical production methods.
Very true.
Okay, if they use ethical production methods, the quality of the production will increase. So basically, again, it is an advantage to the business. But at the start, the initial cost might be really high for the business.
Yeah, that's why working environment, right, have to be at a certain standard, right? Workers have to be given working hours, specific working hours, right? They cannot, businesses cannot exploit their labors as well, right? So they have to be ethical in these areas as well. Right? Yeah. So actually they will get, businesses will get advantage when they use workers for so long, right? Their working hours might be like 10 to 12 hours, right? Businesses might get advantage when we think about that, but there are disadvantages, right? And even these employees, do you think that they will continue to work in that particular business? No, right?
The thing is, even if they are forced to do that, obviously the efficiency and the effectiveness of the workers will reduce. The productivity will become really low.
The quality, right? Quality will affect, as a result, image, right? And if there is no less image, what would happen to the company, right? The publicity, right? That is very important for the business.
And the other thing is like labor turnover increase.
It will be very high, right?
Absenteeism increase in all those things is a huge expenditure for the business because they may have to spend a lot on recruitment of employees and things like that.
Yeah.
And like for example, they may take a lot of time to bring a particular product to the market, and again they may have to spend a lot on wastages and all those things. So if we look at, if we analyze the benefits and costs, basically the businesses will benefit if they think about the legal factors, and the ethical business will be benefited in the long run.
Actually,
and it's viable.
Businesses can make the profit up to a certain level, but the thing is actually they have to concentrate on some other expenses like recruitment, right? And if their image is, again, they have to work on that promotion, they have to spend on promotional strategies, right? Again, this is added cost to the businesses, so their profit will be decreasing, right, at the long run. Okay, let's move on to the next question. What's meant by boycotting, lobbying, and petitioning?
Okay. 3 different words.
Yeah, lobbying, boycotting, petitioning.
And 3 different words related with industrial activities, basically. And these particular activities might be created by customers sometimes, other times it's pressure groups. Okay, like for example, if you look at about boycotting, it's totally ban of a particular product. That means customers or consumers may stop purchasing the particular product totally, and that is boycotting. And the other one is lobbying. But if we use one single word, we can say it's negotiating with the other party. Like they sit together, discuss about what are the benefits to both parties and which one would be, what are the benefits to both parties and which one would give the most benefits to the both parties, and try to influence their decisions by negotiating. And if you look at about petitioning, basically it's a formal written request to typically signed by many people appealing to authorities in respect of particular cause. Basically, in relation with a particular cause, there might be a written document submitted by a group of people. Okay, and it will be very much formal as well. Basically, this petitioning is provided to improve a particular situation, or maybe to improve a particular issues which is going in a industry or country or whatever it is.
For example, within the company even, right?
Yeah,
if
within the
if
company,
the
yeah.
business owners, if the management is exploiting the employees, sometimes employees might make these petitions and they present it to the authorities, right?
Or relative authorities.
So these are about petitioning, right? So what is social cost and social benefit? I think already we have discussed, but still we have to go on.
So
that.
social cost is the private cost and private benefit. So social cost is known as the social private benefit.
Private benefit and
Private
public.
benefit.
Okay, the benefits to the company and benefits to the society, right? When we add these up, we can say social benefits. And social costs are the cost to the businesses and cost to the society, right? Cost means like the disadvantages or the difficulties that the public have to face, right? For example, like smoke from industries, right? These are the disadvantages that the society have to face, right? And the cost for the businesses might be like labor cost, right? They have to spend on these things. And what's a pressure group?
So basically, a pressure group is a group which are going to influence a decision.
Yeah.
So a pressure group can be known as a group of workers also. So group of workers can also can influence these companies' decisions. Like that, the press group and these things also are known as pressure groups for the companies.
Basically, pressure groups, they work for the betterment of the members. Okay. And they pay sometimes a fee or a subscription as well to run the business. So they may try to improve their working condition, they may try to improve their or negotiate to improve their salaries, their fringe benefits, or even non-financial rewards, like these things. They work for the benefits of the members of the particular group.
And these actually pressure groups are well organized, right? And
Well
they are
organized
funded
and
as
funded.
well.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it's very powerful as well.
Normally they are in social media, right? We can see in Twitter, Facebook, and in these platforms, right? So they are very powerful, and when they are influencing to these businesses, actually they work out, right? Actually these pressure groups, they arrange boycotting, right? They motivate, sometimes they motivate other
people.
consumers, other people to stop buying products from particular business, for example. Likewise. Okay, next question, what are the advantages that pressure groups get by pressuring businesses?
Yeah. In the previous
Yes,
discussion
already
also we have
we have
highlighted a
discussed.
little bit of that, like it includes like improving their working condition, better pay, then promotions, and also the fringe benefits to them. Likewise, all the benefits that they may get, even like for example reduce the work hour, and what are the like for example share the benefits of the organization with them, like those things.
And again, if the government is also doing something like unethical, if they feel like constructing a particular business, for example, I think in our society also we have seen this kind of thing. For the government also, they pressure, right? They carry on certain activities, not only to the businesses. If a government is also not being ethical, they are influencing the government to change their decisions as well, right?
And the other important thing about pressure group is the power they get when they act as a pressure group is much more higher.
Yeah.
The voice becomes much more stronger and loud.
Yeah.
Instead of one single person going against a particular business or particular government or whatever it is.
We have seen that in marketing also, right? The powerful marketing is consumer to consumer, right? Rather than billboards, TVs, media and all, right? That is more powerful. The word the consumer to consumer, what is being spread, right? That is more powerful.
Positive word of mouth.
Yeah. So the same way these pressure groups are also actually they are pressure.
Strengthen the decision also becomes very much strengthened. The negotiations they make with other parties also become much
And
more
they do analyze
influential.
the situation, right, before act upon, right?
They see
do analyze.
who is in the strong end.
Yeah, what could be these social cost and social cost benefit analysis, even they do, right? What are the advantages that the businesses are getting and the society is getting, and then they act upon it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And next, I think we have already discussed this. What are ethical businesses? It is the businesses which follow ethical rules or
Basically
ethical policies, right?
The businesses who are doing the right thing.
Right thing, yes.
When we say about right thing, doesn't mean that what the business thinks it's right.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's all about, we are
It's
talking
about the moral code, right?
moral, then also laws, regulations, following those things, that is being ethical.
Yeah, in order to achieve a certain project or contract, do we have to bribe, right? These are the factors. If the businesses are not doing, then they are being ethical. They are doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, actually students might ask this question because they may get this in paper 1 for 2 marks, right, when they write the definitions. And also for 4 marks also they might need to use these kind of terms and everything. Yeah, and for the applications also. Also all the students have to keep that in mind, right? In business studies, normally questions will follow with scenario or case study, right? So they have to relate it to the question, or else they won't be getting full marks, right? Because there are specific marks for the application.
And the other thing is, these terms should be clearly learned by the student.
Yeah.
Because if you look at about paper 1, in each and every question there is 2 mark allocated for this definition. So definition could be anything. Okay,
Yeah.
but that's why these important terms should be learned.
Okay. Okay. Next question is, why environmental and ethical issues arise in businesses?
Yep.
I think that is the last question for us for today. Explain why the environmental issues and ethical issues rise in businesses. Why actually it is, in businesses these is becoming an issue, ethical issue or environmental issue. Why it is?
So one thing is the issue is becoming because of the cost. And also because of the legal restrictions. So sometimes the legal restrictions might not be very much cost friendly for the companies. So in order to prevent that, most of the businesses, they go for unethical decisions.
And
So-
this environmental and these environmental issues and ethical factors become an issue, because
Like, for example, what is the waste management policies that we are following? So how is that being followed by the companies right now? In order to make the cost more feasible, they might go for, in some extent, they might make the unethical decisions as well. But if they continue to do so, in the long run, they will face the losses.
Okay. Again, we have received some question. How the business can overcome the ethical issues faced? By being ethical, right?
I think we have
by
discussed
following,
about that.
yeah, by following ethical ways in the business, right? By avoiding unethical practices.
Following that rules, regulations in the particular country, and doing those things,
Adapting to the
adapting to the
regulations
particular
and everything.
cultures.
Okay, then for the last question, what will happen when there is a country where the consumers are not much aware of the businesses being ethical or unethical?
The answer is very straightforward.
Very straightforward.
The company may try to, the business may try to take advantage of it. In that case, the government should be very vigilant. If the government is not vigilant, then the business may take advantage of the particular customers, especially exploiting the customers, charging really high prices which they could have purchased in a cheaper price. And because of the things the customer may end up paying a really high price. It's not only the monetary prices that they pay, but the prices also include that.
Okay. So Hassan, anything to add?
No, that is a very good explanation, Babisha. Other things that that could happen is if we look at the social status of that country. For example, it might be not that much economical. So if the company knows about these things, they might be getting more exploitations of employments of that country. So the company might be benefited, but in the long run, again, like we have mentioned before, their customers might reduce because of this ethical issue.
Okay. So we hope all the students got their answers, and we'll be meeting up in the next program. Thank you.